I am Lars Hedin. I'm the director of the Environmental Studies program here at Princeton University. The program, we call it the ENV program, coordinates environmental education and opportunities for learning in the environment among our undergraduates. And we offer a cross-disciplinary certificate. I want to welcome you all to this truly terrific event organized by Ken Hiltner. We're really lucky to have had Ken here on loan with us this academic year from University of California, Santa Barbara. I want to mention that Ken's visit is a collaboration between the ENV program and the Princeton Environmental Institute, as well as the Department of English. And it's a collaboration that delivers on a vision, on a goal set by a generous gift from Curry and Thomas Barron. That gift focused on capturing the humanities and bringing the humanities to the discussion at Princeton that's ongoing about our common environment, our common future, and about the human condition as we approach 9 billion people in 2050. I wish I could be with you at the event in person, but as I'm speaking this to you, I find myself on a great savanna plain in the Kruger National Park in South Africa. So you have to imagine here a sea of grass full of animals and the sun setting in the horizon and giraffes and elephants and maybe even some lion in the bush or something like that. I wanted, though, to take this opportunity to offer by video two things, one observation and one challenge. Let me start with the observation. The observation is that our conception of the environment and the way we engage the environment in intellectual discourse is rapidly changing shape. It used to be that the environment belonged to the scientists, maybe the engineers also. I'm a scientist, so maybe I emphasize the sciences. But this is no longer the case. The environment and issues of the environment are rapidly becoming internalized into society, into culture, and into the minds and the hearts of our students. We're right in the middle of that process. Let me give you an example. Many of you have heard about the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is a cross-government, a panel of scientists collected from among the nations, governments of the world, and they're charged with coming up with scientific consensus on climate change, the dimensions of climate change, the threats, and to indicate what might be necessary to do about it. The IPCC received the Nobel Peace Prize a few years ago, and it's truly it's a great success of science on a global stage. But in fact, many of the issues that now confront the IPCC and confront us, all of us, are not primarily the scientific issues of detailing and describing and understanding change. Equally important is the interaction between these issues and a realm of what it means to be part of a system of nature and a system of human society, and an interaction between nature and human society, and the challenge that makes or raises in this area. And what I mean is that questions like, what are our ethical and philosophical responsibilities in a world that is changing fast and may change a lot faster in the future? How do we place a value, monetary value, or a conceptual or a human value on climate predictability, on ecosystems, and on our way of life? Now, those issues are expanding the dimensions of this important question. And I would even argue that even before the science, the question of what it means to be part of this world as part of the human condition and human society, they're primary to even how we do the science. And this is increasingly clear in trying to address environmental issues. Let me say something I think is important, and that is that I think, in fact, our students lead when it comes to this change. And it's clear when you engage them, we see them year to year, their minds are changing very rapidly, and the students we meet today are dramatically different in the way they look on the world and their own relationship to the world than students just 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Students lead, and I believe we must follow, and our training and our education must follow. I think central to what students are confronted with is not only to come to grips with kind of the facts and numbers of environmental issues like climate change or our food system, but it's really about how, as a growing young person, creating a mind of what in their minds, what a map of the world and their responsibility to the world. How should they think about the environment? How should they understand and how should they express their thoughts and their feelings about changes in the environment? This reminds me of a couple of years ago, I had one of my first meetings on something I call the Humanities Initiative. It's a group of faculty members from the Humanities, and we have a conversation. And the poet Paul Muldoon was there. And I'll try to capture his words. He made a point, a very powerful point, something like this. Paul said, "Lars, our students are no longer motivated by love. They're motivated by climate change." So this then leads me to the challenge that I would like to leave you with. And that is the real question of how do we engage this generation of students, this generation of new minds, this generation of future leaders. How do we teach them and how do we train them in this important area? And how do we help them create a world that no longer separates the environment from the idea of being human, from the idea of how we reflect on our common future? How do we allow them to think about the history of art, music, and philosophy that relates to the environment, and especially have such a rich history here in America, where there exists a distinct school of thought in this area and about what it means to be American and relate to the American land? And how do we allow them to explore these historical ideas and express them again and relate them in a world full of shopping malls, highways, changing food systems, and all the kinds of changes that they're facing today? So this is the challenge I'd like to leave with you today. In addition, of course, to having a lot of fun and just celebrating this emerging field and this important link between the humanities and this broad field of the environment. But I want to leave you with this, and I think it truly represents an opportunity for all of us here at Princeton and at other institutions and on Main Street and in homes. How can we help lead the way forward? And how can we create the next model for educating the next generation of leaders in this area? It's a terrific discussion, and it's a terrific debate to have here at Princeton. And I thank Ken Hiltner very much for making it possible. And I wish I was there in person to join it and to have fun with you. Thank you very much.